I'm Dutch. My home country, the Netherlands, is known for things like the beautiful canals, tulips, windmills, bicycles, and delicious stroopwafels. But I've lived abroad for over a decade, which is where I've developed a newfound appreciation for some simple Dutch habits that contribute to living a happier, healthier life. And I want to share 5 of those habits with you today. You know the song, I can see clearly now the rain is gone. It's a bit like that, and the Netherlands has a lot of rain. But that doesn't seem to impact our happiness. The Netherlands consistently ranked in the top 10 of the happiest countries in the world. In the 2024 World Happiness Report, we were number 6. In part it's due to things like affordable healthcare, a strong social safety net, decent public transportation, and a good work-life balance. And the secret ingredient, eating a boterham met kaas, which is a sandwich with cheese for lunch, every single day. Seriously, you should try it. I don't know what all the expats on YouTube are complaining about.
It's like broodje kaas. It's just like very underwhelming.
I know, we're by no means perfect. We sit in circles at birthday parties, we force double salt licorice on innocent foreigners, telling them to try Dutch candy, and we send tikkies for everything. But there are certain habits that are in the Dutch DNA which, in my view, help us live a more balanced, healthier and happier life. I got the idea for this video from Vera, who runs the Simply Happy Zen YouTube channel, and I thought I'd do my own take on it. So if you're ready to awaken your inner Dutchie, let's get started. Uitwaaien. The Netherlands is very flat, with the North Sea to the north and west, so it's often windy. When I started my job as a corporate lawyer in the winter of 2005, I lived in The Hague. This was the first time in my life that I lived relatively close to the beach, and every weekend I would go there om even lekker uit te waaien. It was often cold and windy and sometimes rainy, but as my mom told me not too long ago, come on, we're not made of sugar, we won't let a little bit of rain stop us, right? Uitwaaien is a word that's a bit hard to translate. Waaien means blowing, as in the wind is blowing, and uit means out. But translating uitwaaien as blowing out doesn't seem to fully cover it. Uitwaaien means to go out in the wind when the weather isn't great, it's windy and cold, to get some fresh air and clear your mind. You feel the wind blowing against your hair, clothes and body. It's like the wind is coming in through your left ear and blowing out your worries, negative thoughts and anxiety through your right ear. Just make sure to check buienradar beforehand, because walking for an hour in the pouring rain is no fun. Yes, we have an actual rain radar. That's how often it rains. Cycling and water sports are great for uitwaaien, but walking is the most popular method, ideally in nature. Walking on the beach or in the forest, and if you live in a city, a park will also do. Of course it has to be windy. If it's not, you'll be getting some fresh air, but it won't be uitwaaien. Coming home after uitwaaien feels amazing. You'll return to the warm environment of your home feeling refreshed, recharged and with a clear mind. So how can you practice uitwaaien? Next time when it's windy and the weather isn't great, put on your jacket and maybe even bring your scarf and go for an hour-long walk in nature, alone or with someone else. Niksen. So I was quite surprised to see that the Dutch word Niksen has crossed our borders and become lifestyle advice. What is Niksen? The word niks means nothing, and Niksen turns that into a verb. So literally translated, it means to nothinging, or consciously taking the time to do nothing. And it's not the only word we have for it. We also have verbs like lanterfanten and luieren. It's not really about doing absolutely nothing. It's more about not doing anything productive. Allowing yourself to be idle without feeling guilty about it. Doing as you please without pursuing a goal. It could be lazing around the house, sitting on the sofa with a cup of coffee, looking out the window, or laying in the grass in the summer and simply watching the clouds roll by. It's people watching, mind wandering and daydreaming. When I was young, my family would go camping in France during the holidays. During the day, we would hang out at the beach, watching the waves hit the sand. That's Niksen. To me, reading a book, watching TV or browsing social media is not Niksen. Those are distractions. They're fun, but not Niksen. The important element in Niksen is that you're not focused on anything specifically. It's about finding the time to unwind, relax, and maybe reflect. This is also where it differs from meditation and mindfulness. With those, the practice is to purposefully pay attention to the present moment and bring your mind back to it when it wanders. With Niksen, it's okay to wander. You can daydream all you like. Niksen is also not the same as boredom. When you're bored, you want to do something enjoyable or interesting, but you're not able to. It's a state you want to get out of. With Niksen, you purposefully choose to do nothing because you want to. You can do Niksen sitting down, sit at the Niksen, standing up, staan at the Niksen, walking, loop at the Niksen, or the gold standard, lying down, lig at the Niksen. The goal is not to do Niksen all the time. That would make you a Niksenet or a vlierenfluiter. But we live in a society where we're bombarded with things vying for our attention, and many of us tend to fill every free moment by being on our phone. If you don't believe me, just look around when you're commuting to work by public transport or waiting in line somewhere. Or when a question pops into your mind, how often do you still take a moment to muse and wonder about what the question may be instead of immediately grabbing your phone to Google it? It's like we've become afraid to do nothing, of letting our mind wander. Niksen is a way to give your mind a rest and recharge. Through Niksen you can lower your stress levels, improve your well-being, and it can even enhance your creativity. And Niksen is accessible to everyone. It doesn't require special skills, and it also doesn't take up a lot of time. And if you're thinking, oh, I'm too busy to do nothing, consider this. The average person checks their phone 58 times per day, for a total of 3 hours and 50 minutes on their phone each day. That's almost 23 hours per week. If you just do that 10% less, you already have more than enough time to practice some Niksen. So how can you add a bit of Niksen to your life? Tomorrow, sit on the sofa with a cup of tea or a cup of coffee for 5 to 10 minutes without your phone or a book, and just let your mind wander. You don't have to do anything specifically. Just sit there and be present. There's no goal, just sit there. And if a thought pops up that you should be doing something productive, that you're wasting your time, just let that go. Give yourself permission to pause and recharge without feeling guilty. If you'd like more tips, I write a newsletter about how to bring more calm into your life and live with more intention. So if that sounds appealing to you, there's a sign-up link in the description below. Act normal. We have a saying in the Netherlands, doe maar normaal, dan doe je al gek genoeg, which is a lot of Gus. And that roughly translates as, just act normal, that's crazy enough already. And this sits at the core of the Dutch identity, which has its roots in Calvinism. It's all about not standing out too much. The Dutch consider themselves to be a level-headed, no-nonsense kind of people, although there are exceptions, of course. It's considered bad form to flaunt your wealth or behave in an extravagant, attention-seeking way. You're not going to impress anyone driving your Ferrari along the canals. The Dutch work hard. We're one of the most productive countries in Europe. We're also careful to protect our personal life outside of work. If you're an ambitious overachiever who clocks in 90 hours of work a week, that's seen by most as not normal, and you're pitied rather than admired. I've experienced this myself. I kinda was that ambitious overachiever for years when I worked at a big law firm. And I remember one Sunday we had a meetup of all my cousins on my dad's side. And we have a big family, and because we live all over the country and the family is so big, we actually rarely see each other. So it had been years since we'd all been together. I was there for a few hours, and then unfortunately I had to go back to the office, so I had to leave early. And my cousins let me know that that definitely was not normal. And since the Dutch are so direct, if we think that you're not acting normal, you'll hear it. Even if you're the prime minister.
Ja, doe eens normaal, man. Wat ach.
Ja, doe eens normaal, man.
Dat is de... Ja.
Lekker zelf normaal.
Dat heeft hij niet...
Zo, jongen.
It's all about blending in, even for our royal family. Every now and then, they are photographed riding their bikes, as if they're saying, we are just like you. We are normal. So how does acting normal contribute to well-being? Well, the Dutch, they care about work-life balance. It may be why the Netherlands has the highest rate of part-time employed workers in Europe. It's not unusual for people to work 4 days a week. It's also normal to be average in university. There's even a term for it, zesjescultuur, which refers to the tendency to put in no more effort than the minimum required to score a 6 out of 10 on an exam, which is enough to pass that exam. It doesn't mean that higher achievements are discouraged, but it does promote that you don't have to be top of your class just to be a worthwhile, capable human being. This may be shocking to you if you're used to a more competitive culture like the US or some Asian countries. But before you judge, ask yourself this. If the adult population of the Netherlands is a direct product of that education system, and the country consistently ranks high in lists of happiest and most productive countries in the world, might they be onto something? In the Netherlands, your worth is not only determined by your job or academic credentials. Life is not only about having a top-notch career and making a lot of money. Work is important, but so is spending time with family and friends, and having enough downtime for things like hobbies, charity, and sports. And I think that takes some of the pressure off. It's okay to blend in, to be average. You don't have to push, get straight A's in school, accumulate credit card debt to keep up with the Jonases, or make hundreds of thousands of dollars a year to prove your self-worth. If you work reasonably hard, you're down to earth, and you complain about the weather a lot, you're good. Bonus points if you drown your fries in mayonnaise. So how can you act normal the Dutch way? If you're pushing yourself hard to move ahead in life at the expense of your social life and interests outside of work, take a moment and ask yourself, why? Is this really what you want, or are you perhaps following an unwritten script telling you that only the top of the mountain is good enough? Maybe it's okay to not excel at everything and live a rich life within your means. Rich in experiences and connection. Gezellig. Gezellig is a word that's ingrained in the Dutch DNA. There's no real translation for it in English. Gezellig comes from the word gezel, and a gezel means a companion or an apprentice. Centuries ago, a gezel was someone who was learning a craft or a trade with the guilds, and during his apprenticeship, he would live with other gezellen. Nowadays, gezelligheid refers to coziness, warmth, and connection. It is anything that warms the heart and puts you in a good mood, especially if it's shared with people you care about. More than anything, gezelligheid is a feeling. You feel safe, welcome, warm, there's laughter, connection, it's comfortable. You feel like you can be yourself and you don't have to pretend. It's a vibe. Dutch people intuitively know if something is gezellig or ongezellig. Because the weather is so bad throughout the year, we spend a lot of time at home, so it's important that our houses are gezellig. But we also use it to describe a fun get-together, a first date that went well, or a birthday party. Gezellig is probably best understood through examples, so here are a few. A house with a fireplace is gezellig, but a cold and soulless apartment is ongezellig. Having a drink with a friend at a terrace in the summer is gezellig. Meeting up with your accountant is ongezellig. A brown cafe with its dark wood furnishings is gezellig. Going to a rave is not. Cuddling up with your partner on the sofa under a blanket to watch a movie, that's gezellig. But when your partner is on their phone all the time, that's ongezellig. Having to attend an acquisition drink for work with people you don't know, that's ongezellig. But if you meet someone there and you connect with them over how much you hate being there, and you find out you share this passion for playing board games, you might go home and think, that was gezellig. And if something was really gezellig, we'll even say that it was berengezellig. Beer means bear. I'm not sure why we added to the word gezellig. Maybe it's because bears are big, warm, and fluffy looking. And if a conversation at a birthday party, or this can even happen at work, gets too heated, someone may say, hey, zullen we het gezellig houden? Which means, please, can we keep it gezellig? In this context, it's similar to acting normal. For me, it's gezellig when I see my parents or siblings. We catch up over a glass of wine and eat crackers with celery salade, kip-curry salade, oude kaas salade. Good times. So how can you make your life more gezellig? Gezelligheid is all about warmth and connection. So you could meet up with a friend for a cup of coffee and apple pie and forget about the clock. As we say in Dutch, gezelligheid kent geen tijd, which means gezelligheid knows no time. You could also look around your living room and ask yourself, how can I make it more cozy? Or cook a dinner for your partner, open a bottle of wine, light a candle, put your phones away, and just be present for each other. Efficiency and punctuality. The Dutch are punctual and efficient. Let me give you an example. When I have a FaceTime call scheduled with my parents at 4 p.m., they are ready at 4 p.m. And if I have a call scheduled with my brother at 8 p.m., it's not uncommon for him to call me at 7:58 p.m. And if you want to meet up, there's little room for spontaneity. Everything has to be planned. This is also my experience when I return to the Netherlands and want to meet up with friends. And I remember when I still worked as a lawyer, In meetings in November, some colleagues would already take out their planners to schedule next year's summer holidays. The Dutch are efficient for a reason. We work hard, but we don't want to waste time, because there's more to life than work. Being there for your children, your family, friends, playing sports, your hobbies, travel. Maybe that's also why we're quite direct with each other. We're not trying to be rude, but by being clear with one another, you won't have to spend hours thinking, what did Paul really mean when he said something cryptic to me? So how can you apply this? Oftentimes, when we're busy, the things we skip first are those activities that we need the most to recharge our batteries. So grab your planner and schedule an hour for Uitwaaien, this week or next week. And while you're at it, also block some time this week for Niksen. You don't need much time for that, just 10 to 15 minutes is enough. I did a separate video that's related to Niksen. It's called The Art of Doing Nothing. You may find some ideas there. You can check it out by clicking right here. So I hope this video inspired you to try out one or two of these Dutch habits. Please let me know in the comments down below which one's your favorite. Thanks for watching, have a great day, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye bye.